Welcome to Peaches and Cream. Today we're going to make my mama's recipe for whole wheat bread. This bread is so soft, it's almost got the texture of white bread and it doesn't have any white flour in it. So we're going to start out by making the sponge. We're going to measure into a large bowl 3 cups, that's 390 grams of whole wheat flour, 1.5 tablespoons of yeast, 3 cups, that's 700 milliliters of warm water, and we're going to mix this together. I'm using freshly milled Prairie Gold wheat today because that's what my mama does. But not everybody has a mill at home, so just use a high quality store-bought brand like King Arthur and it should turn out just fine. So I'm just going to mix this together until it's well incorporated, and then I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap and let it rise for 15 to 20 minutes or until it's really bubbly. This is sort of like a pre-ferment, and it will really help develop the flavor in the bread, and it will also actually help lighten the bread's texture because whole wheat flour is very heavy, so it kind of needs that extra lift. Alright, so after 15 to 20 minutes, we'll want to add 1/2 cup, that's 185 grams of honey, 7 tablespoons, that's 95 grams of oil, and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And add 3 cups, that's 390 grams of whole wheat flour. When the dough is incorporated, it will probably need a bit more flour. I'm going to add 1 more cup, that's 130 grams, and I'm just going to mix it until it's smooth. You want to add enough flour that it becomes a kneadable consistency. You want to be able to turn it out on the counter and knead it with your hands and it hold together while you're kneading it. Alright, so when that's smooth, flour your counter well with whole wheat flour, dump your dough out on the counter, and then knead it really well for 10 to 15 minutes. You can use a machine to do this. In fact, I usually do. For the sake of this video, I did it by hand because of course not everybody has a machine, and it is important for y'all to be able to see it done completely by hand so that you know it can be done and that it can turn out great that way. The key to fluffy whole wheat bread is the kneading process. You have to knead it longer and harder than you might with white bread, and the reason is because of the pieces of bran in whole wheat flour. They disrupt the strands of gluten, keeping them from forming as easily. But whole wheat flour is actually about 14% protein, and protein is what forms gluten. So it has potential. You just have to work it a little bit harder. Try not to add too much flour during the kneading process. It's better for the dough to be sticking to the counter like crazy than for you to add too much flour and it become really dense. If you find the whole wheat flour too difficult to work with, then you can knead it for a little bit using white flour and it should come together more easily. When it's done, it should be smooth and soft and elastic. It should not be a stiff dough. Let the dough rest on the countertop for about 10 minutes, and meanwhile grease your pans with cooking spray. When it's done resting, grease the countertop with a little bit of oil and also rub the dough with some oil to keep it from sticking to your hands as you form the rolls. I like to form the rolls the way my mama taught me. I just flatten the top to get it kind of smooth, and then curve your left hand and push the dough through that curve. It's almost like you're squirting it through so that it gets that really tight, smooth surface. But form them however works best for you. This recipe should make about 13 really big rolls, or you can make loaves out of it. It makes great sandwich bread. So let these rise for about 30 to 40 minutes, and they should almost double in size. They should become really puffy. I like to cover these in plastic wrap while they rise just to keep them from drying out. Bake these in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes or until they're a beautiful golden brown. The temperature inside should read 190 degrees Fahrenheit and the bottoms should be a deep golden brown. Brush their tops with melted butter and serve warm or remove to a rack to cool completely. These are super soft, like I said, almost the texture of white bread, and that's all whole wheat flour, so super healthy and just really delicious. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more recipes. Thanks for watching.